having the subway stop. That makes the site approximately more than a half mile. It's in the transit zone. Okay, this is your area map actually showing you the rezoning area. As you can see, the yellow indicates 1-2 family attached and semi-detached residential homes. Diagonally in the center, preferably on the Boston Road, you have portions of blocks and blocks that are within the C81 zoning district. The district basically allows commercial and heavy automotive uses, such as warehouses, car repairs, gas stations, also, let me see. And again, the C8 has an FAR of 1.0, and housing is prohibited in the zone. Therefore, the applicant for his development, which is 9 stories with ground floor commercial, he's establishing the R71 zoning district, which has a maximum base height of 75 feet and a maximum over height of 95 feet, allowing him to do the development. These are photographs of the development project area. You have your 6-story building on the first photo. The second photo actually shows you most of the buildings within the rezoning area, which is your 6-story garage and your small homes. This photograph here is along Williamsbridge Road, and you can actually see the 1-story residential with ground floor commercial use there. The applicant, again, is proposing to construct a 9-story building with approximately 35 dwelling units, approximately 16 spaces for accessory parking, 16 bicycle parking spaces. As you can see, the proposed office is towards the back, fronting is towards the back, and the entrance to that commercial use is from Williamsbridge Road. That's the arrow in the center. And the parking access is through the second arrow on your right on Williamsbridge Road, and that goes under the sort of open space area with the landscaping. You'll have 8 parking spaces located in the cellar, and the same for the office use. You'll have 8 parking spaces located there. The applicant will be utilizing both options 1 and 2. Option 1 is 25% of the total units at or below 60% of AMI, and 10% of that 25% will be for households at 40% of AMI and below. The rest of the units will be for market rate housing. This is your elevations here. As you can see, the parking is in the cellar level, and the commercial on the first floor, we're looking at Williamsbridge Road. The 2nd through 8th will be residential units. The 9th floor will have a terrace and will also have a gym. This is your before and after, showing your CA1 zoning district. The one on the right actually shows the R7A superimposed with the C23 commercial overlay to allow the mixed-use building. This is your MIH map, and again, the applicant has chosen both options 1 and 2. And the community board recommendation and borough president's recommendations. Community board 11 disapproved their recommendation to disapprove the application by a vote of 14 in favor, 20 opposed, and 2 abstentions. I spoke with the applicant as well. Excuse me? They rejected it, yes. I spoke with the applicant and the district manager, and they informed me that most of the members were in favor of just having the C8, with having the gas stations, the car washes, etc., and the other half favored the housing. The Bronx Borough President approved the application with conditions. You should have that in your package. It came in it came in on time, but I didn't have it on time to have it on the slide. He would like to remove the 4 three-story residential buildings.
See?
That's that, and then go here, right here, okay. The second, well, you'll get a portion, but if you look,
Go back to the beginning.
the beginning. Okay, right there. That's to the right of the development site. Those 4 three-story buildings are one-family homes. He wants that removed from the project area, and his reason is that there's a potential that these homes might be bought off by the developer, in which case you'll get construction of another tall building. He also stated that the Bronx is one of the boroughs with the least amount of ownership, and that he would like to retain home ownership in the area. So that's the condition for his approval, conditional approval. And just, there was a quite one, let me show you the renderings. Okay, these are the renderings. The first one fronting on Williamsbridge Road, and the second facing Colton Avenue. Now, the second one, and I recall was a question by Commissioner Efron regarding lot line windows. And as you can see by this rendering, there are no windows proposed for that side that will be adjacent to the 6-story building. And I do have another slide, which I'm going to just go back. Okay, this one here, the 6-story building where it contacts, or not actually contacts, where it's adjacent, immediately adjacent Williamsbridge Road, there are no windows on that 6-story building on that side. However, there are windows located on the rest of the building, which curves, and you do have a very large area, so it's really not restricted by any lot line windows. And again, there are no windows proposed for that site by the developer. Are there any questions?
I'll just note that the department looked at the borough president's recommendation and thinks that it makes sense and would propose incorporating it into our report. Commissioner Marin.
So that'll generate my first question. The second one is, could you go back to the rendering where you show the Williamsbridge Road frontage, please?
Okay.
I believe that you show some stairs there. Is there any ADA accessibility?
Yes, there is. Just get to that slide. Okay, yes, there is ADA accessibility, and that would be from the Colton Avenue frontage, where you have your access with the arrow pointing downward, is the entrance to the residential lobby for the building. So yes, there will be ADA accessibility.
And just one more question. I want to understand that the lot line when I'm looking further. Are you saying that looking at this map, the facade on the left-hand side will not have windows, or is it the one on the right?
The one on the left, the proposed, no windows at that location.
Got it.
The one on the right, there are no windows where you see.
Where the buildings connect.
Where the buildings connect, no windows there. However, there are windows as you
That's fine.
Yes.
That answers my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wherever the buildings connect, there's no windows there. But further along where there's a gap in between the buildings, there are windows there.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, thank you.
I'm having a little trouble understanding why this is a good location for commercial, for ground floor commercial. I think, as we look at context a little bit, I'd be curious for the applicant to speak to that. We have existing residential 6 stories with what looks like a sort of hodgepodge of services, but that ends before you get to this site, and we have, at least 20, 25 feet of residential on the ground floor. So we have sort of an end to what feels like a commercial fabric and the beginning of what feels like a residential fabric. And so when we're adding 5,000 square feet of ground floor commercial, so the extent to which that makes sense in an environment where these are very small spaces and it doesn't seem to lend itself to that kind of activity. So I'd be very interested in that. And then on the back, on Colden Avenue, can we go to that rendering? Yeah, here. So, I'm wondering how tall that retaining wall is. As you walk down that street, it ends up being, a significant distance of really concrete retaining wall on a street that, presumably is a residential street. And if you compare what's happening there with the buildings next to it, which have multiple entrances, which really feel residential, the difference here is really quite stark. And I don't know that that's the kind of treatment that is really quite appropriate there. I'd be interested in their, in the applicant's thoughts on that as well.
Yes, the applicant is here, they're taking notes and they'll address that.
Also, my understanding is on the retail is that this is an office that currently exists on the site, and it's the applicant's office?
It is the applicant's office, basically. That is there today, and that's what's intended to be the entirety of this market. So it will be replaced by the existing office use.
Other questions? Yes, Commissioner Levin.
Yeah, I'm still confused about lot line windows, and then I also have a question about the affordable housing choices here. The image on the left in this slide facing Williamsbridge Road, doesn't that show lot line windows on the left-hand edge of the page?
That is not connected to the adjacent residential.
No, but it's connected to the C8 district. There is an adjacency there.
There is an adjacency, but the only portion where the existing shows that existing 6-story residential building abuts the lot line, there are not windows.
Well, that I
There's
get,
actually a space.
but what happens if something gets built on the C8 district? What happens if something gets built against those lot line windows that are shown in the new building?
The portion.
Those are
Yeah.
not required windows, I would assume, since they can't be on a lot line.
Yeah.
This is on the other side, not the
Yeah,
side that has
this
the
is the
existing
C8
And that
6-story
portion's
building.
remaining C8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something,
Sure,
so
but
the
no,
world could change.
And then it could be. Yeah.
Okay, so those are lot line windows, but they're being built, they're proposed for the C8.
On the side that
The
faces
remaining
the C8,
C8
where the
portion of the
existing
wall.
building is, it doesn't abut against any existing, or there are no proposed.
Yeah, no, I'm
lot lines.
not worried about existing, I'm worried about the future.
Sure,
that
on that C8
When
side
those
where it
other
remains.
commercial uses go away and someone else rolls in with the idea of developing residential, then we have to think about the fact that we've
Sure.
allowed, well, we're not allowing anything,
Not
it's just a map
required,
change.
but-
There's a match, yeah.
Yeah.
And not required, but yes, lot line windows where it faces the C8 that is forbidden.
And then on affordable housing, Yanni, you keep using the phrase that they're using both option 1 and option 2.
Yes.
Don't they end up building, you pick one or the other, right? And which one are they actually proposing?
Both options are being mapped because
Right.
there are non-owner
Right.
sites, but they're proposing option 2 on their side.
Okay, well, so then that leads to the inevitable question about how that matches with neighborhood needs. Because I think the local AMI is quite a bit lower than that, right?
Sure, it is quite lower, but sure, higher than other neighborhoods.
$47,000.
Yes, Commissioner Rogers.
Good afternoon, thank you for the presentation. Question, with regards to the building, I guess I don't know if you'll be able to answer it. The reason why the building's not at grade, is it because of the foundation, you have rock, or is there, because I see it's elevated up maybe about
On the Colton Avenue side, and that goes to the question of the retaining wall as well, that is the condition today, that it is elevated. And so you can certainly ask about the treatment of that as it changes, but that's the existing condition today, and that's why that retaining wall is.
It sounds like that perhaps if there's an architect on this project, they'd be
Yeah.
get the hearing
That's
tomorrow.
right.
Or Wednesday.
Commissioner Marin?
I think that brings me back to my original question about ADA compliance. If you have stairs on Colden Avenue, where is the ADA compliance?
The ramp is to the left of this right now, yeah.
think there's a ramp.
There's a ramp to the left, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that goes to the question of that wall.
Yeah, I think that wall is there.
Yeah.
Because of the ramp.
Understood,
Yeah,
but
so, I think it's worth a conversation.
it is, architect on Wednesday, got it.
Other questions? Okay, we will have a public hearing where the architect and any others will be heard on Wednesday.
Right, the ninth item on our agenda